Most college students will not receive stimulus checks. Traditional college students are caught in a terrible catch-22 situation. They're ineligible for the $1,200 recovery rebate checks themselves, but their parents also cannot claim the $500 recovery rebate for them as a qualifying child. Now, what is the recovery rebate? The recovery rebate, which was created by the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Securities Act, or the CARES Act, provides stimulus checks to U.S. citizens and permanent residents who have a work-eligible Social Security number. Eligible individuals will receive a $1,200 or $2,400 for married couples filing joint returns, plus an additional $500 per qualifying child. The income phase-out starts at $75,000 for single people and $112,500 for head of households and $150,000 for those married filing jointly. The recovery rebate is reduced by 5% of income over these thresholds. The $500 per qualifying child, however, is not reduced. Now, why don't college students qualify for a $1,200 stimulus check? College students are ineligible for stimulus checks if they can be claimed as a dependent by somebody else on someone else's federal income tax return. A student under age 24 can be claimed as a dependent on someone else's federal income tax return. Even if a college student's parents do not claim them as a dependent, they are still not eligible for the stimulus checks. The eligibility criteria are based on whether the student is claimable as a dependent, not whether they are claimed as a dependent. Are there any exceptions? There are only a few situations which college students might nevertheless qualify for a stimulus check. Number one, if the student is 24 years of age or older. Number two, if the student is married and files a joint tax return with their spouse. Number three, if the student provides more than half of their own financial support. Or number four, if the student does not live in a home for more than half the year. Temporary absences for education count as though the student is still living at home. Why don't the student's parents qualify for $500 stimulus checks? If a college student does not qualify for the $1,200 stimulus check, surely their parents can claim them as a qualifying child and get $500 on their behalf, right? Unfortunately, no. A qualifying child is defined as a child under the age of 17. Less than 0.1% of undergraduate students are 16 or younger. Other considerations: borrowers who are in default on federal student loans will still receive the recovery rebate, as the CARES Act blocks the use of Treasury offset programs, or TOP, to intercept the stimulus checks to defaulted borrowers. But borrowers who are in default on other debt should be careful, as nothing stops a collection agency from using a bank levy to seize the recovery rebate as soon as it reaches the borrower's bank account, if the lender has a court judgment against the borrower. The CARES Act establishes two types of emergency financial aid grants to college students affected by the coronavirus pandemic. One is based on the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, the FSEOG, and one is based on a New Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund, HEERF. The latter averages about $328 per student, but maybe more if college students target the money to students with the greatest financial need. The CARES Act also establishes a payment pause and interest waiver for federal student and parent loans held by the U.S. Department of Education. This may save borrowers from hundreds of dollars of interest, depending on how much they owe. The payment pause and interest waiver effective from March 13th, 2020 through September 30th, 2020. Hope that helps.